What's going on, guys? This is Anime back here with a new video, and today I'm here with the new series of What If Naruto was a lunarian and neglected. So if you guys like the content in the channel, please subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, also like this video. So I've been not uploading for pretty much or for a week. I'm really sorry about that, but I had to get a few things straight, and so I came out with a new banger of a series of What If Naruto. Again, this series I'll be continuing my saying series as well, since you guys have crushed the like goal that I requested in the previous part of the Shang series, so that's gonna be coming out also very soon. But anyways, let's get on with this video. A boy was sitting on a tree branch, reading a book. He had dark skin, deep ocean blue eyes, and was fairly tall for his age. He was wearing a white colored t-shirt and black pants, his white hair fluttering in the air as the wind blew. His name was Naruto Uzumaki, the firstborn son of the fourth Hokage and the red-hot habanero. The boy might seem normal at first glance, but in reality, he was anything but normal. None of his parents had dark skin, and none of them had white hair. There were even DNA tests done on him by his parents to confirm whether Naruto was their son or not. But as expected, the test came positive, and it was proven that Naruto was their biological son. Naruto looked down at the white-haired man that was teaching his siblings basic chakra control. Honestly, they were so pathetic. They didn't even know the basics of chakra control at their age. It was pitiful. All of them were. Naruto, including his two little siblings, were 5 years old. But Naruto was leagues above them in every aspect, whether it was chakra control, speed, taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu. It was as if these abilities came to him naturally, without him even trying too hard. All he did was take reference from the books, and he was able to get those basics ability down. Naruto jumped down from the tree branch that he was sitting on, while his siblings and his parents basically ignored his existence, saying that he was not important as his siblings and they needed more attention. They refused to train him or spend time with him. They treated him like a stranger living in their house rent-free, not as a family. Now he had gotten used to it, but if they wanted to train those two failures, go ahead. He had no problems with it. He would get strong on his own, without their help. As Naruto was walking through the forest, he heard some rustling as if someone was jumping from tree to tree. Running for their lives, out of curiosity, he followed the sound that he heard, and once he caught up, his eyes widened. He saw two fully grown men in Kumo Jonin attire and Kumo headband. But the thing that surprised them the most was they were carrying a Hyuga child in their arms. The child roughly looked almost his age. His brain went on overdrive, and only one thought popped up in his mind. Gotta save her, he thought. Without going through any hand signs, Naruto put his hand in front of his mouth and thought, fire style. Great Fireball Jutsu! Naruto spit out a huge stream of flames as it rushed towards the two Jonins, who saw the fireball coming and evaded the jutsu and stopped in their tracks. They both got a frown on their faces. They looked back to see it was a kid. It's just a kid. You keep on going. We can stop right now, said one of the Jonins. The other one nodded as he started to run. Naruto didn't bother going after the Jonin that took the Hyuga girl with him. He knew that he had to get through this man first in order to save that girl. Without wasting any time, Naruto coated his fist and legs in fire and rushed towards the man who sighed. He didn't want to kill a kid, but he had to do what he had to do. He didn't want any witnesses, and the man evaded every punch and kicks from Naruto. Naruto was talented, yes, but he was still a 5-year-old kid, and this man was experienced journeying. The man, after avoiding the boy's attempt to hit him, decided to end this, taking out a kunai and thrusting it towards the boy's skull in an attempt to kill him, painlessly. Naruto saw the kunai coming. He wasn't fast enough to dodge it. What was he thinking? Trying to save a girl that he barely knew? Trying to be some kind of hero? What am I? Why? Am I going to die like this? No, not like this. I have to prove them wrong. I have to live. I want to live. As Naruto was thinking about that, he heard a voice in his head. Then live. Awaken awaken your powers. Watch be what you were destined to be. Be a god. Flames appeared on Naruto's back as the Jonin's kunai broke as it hit Naruto's head, which widened the man's eyes. Naruto started grunting as he started to shake violently. The Jonin's eyes widened at what he saw next. Naruto popped out two wings from his back. Now, the Jonin stepped back a little. Monster, the man said. The flames on Naruto's back went out as the Jonin was a little surprised, but his eyes widened when he heard a voice behind him. I'll go look for the other one now. The man was confused, but then he saw his entire body being engulfed in fire. The man screamed as he tried everything in his power to put out the flames, but the flames kept on burning him, soon turning him into nothing but ash. Naruto's wings flapped open as he flew over to the other man at high speeds. Soon, Naruto was right behind the man, his legs coated in flames. Without any mercy, Naruto slammed his foot onto the man's back as flames burst out from the man's front part, which forced the man to let go of the Hyuga girl who had woken up due to the commotion and during this scene and saw Naruto's new form. The Jonin was now screaming, clutching his stomach in pain. My insides! My insides, they're burning! The man said as he could feel each of his organs got hit by Naruto's burning flames. Hinata watched in shock and horror as he saw the man screaming. Slowly turned her eyes to her savior, but her eyes widened with fear as he saw the black wings and the flaming, burning fire on his back, which made him look like the devil. She still being a child, Hinata was now scared. Monster, stay away from me, Hinata said. Naruto looked at the girl that he saved with wide eyes. He saved her, and this was the gratitude that he was receiving in return. He clenched his fist. He had got his first kill, and it disturbed his mind. He almost died. For what? Only to get called a monster? Naruto then turned his head to see the head of the Hyuga clan, landing beside the girl. Yashi looked at the man that was screaming in absolute pain and agony. Then he looked at the boy, who right now looked either like an angel or like the devil himself. After checking up on his daughter and ensuring that she was fine, he looked at Naruto. You are the eldest child of Lord Fourth, am I correct? The man said, as Naruto nodded. The man bowed down his head. I'm sincerely grateful for you who saved me my daughter's life. But, Yashi said as he rose his head, I insist that you stay away from her and the Hyuga clan. With that appearance, I cannot trust you. Naruto looked at Hiyashi, his eyes now covering his hair. Before he nodded, I left the scene at once. Hokage's office. Minato was looking at Hiyashi with wide eyes. Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure about this? Minato asked as Hiyashi nodded. Yes, I saw him. He had black wings and fire on his back. As I said, he looked like an angel and the devil at the same time. Minato had a concerned look on his face. He had never heard of something like this ever. Never. But maybe Jiraiya knows something about this. Namek snapping his finger, the fourth called upon an Anbu. Bring me Jiraiya. He must be in my clan compound. The Anbu nodded. After some time, Jiraiya was in the Hokage's office. Ah, Minato. Why did you call me here? Jiraiya asked as Minato looked at Jiraiya. Sit down for this one, Sensei. After some time, Jiraiya looked at Minato with as a memory popped into his head. Long time ago, gods existed, but they thought that humans were below them. So the savior of human race, the sage of the six paths, fought with them, and with the help of his brother, he defeated them. But their leader was too strong, so the only way to kill him was seal him away. Jiraiya said. As Jiraiya spoke these words, Minato looked at Jiraiya as if the old man had finally lost it. These were the words that the old toad sage of Mount Miyoboku had told me when I was in my 30s. Jiraiya said with a shrug. Minato looked at him. You think Naruto has inherited the supposed god's power somehow? Jiraiya shrugged. Not sure if it's only a theory. The old sage is still alive, and he has been alive since the time of the sage of the six paths, so it's believable. Minato sighed. This was a problem. The thing was, Kuma was asking for his son's head now. He might have considered it before, but after knowing the new bloodline that Naruto had made, it made it much harder. It made a much harder decision for him. Konoha couldn't pass the opportunity to have a bloodline, which produced flames as hot as magma. But as Minato was thinking that, someone entered the room. Lord Hokage, I heard about what had happened, and I have come up with a solution, which can prevent both the war and your son's life can be saved as well. The man who spoke was Danzo Saimira. Minato's gaze narrowed at the Warhawk and he gestured him. Go on, I am listening. Danzo smirked. With Naruto. Naruto was sitting on top of the fourth Hokage's monument. As his wings were not still visible, but they were retracted. He hated it. Every bit of it. Why him? Why did he get this weird power? He never asked for it. All of it. All that he wanted was his parents to acknowledge him. He wanted to be a normal kid. And now this happening. He looked and getting his first kill. All was weighing down on him. He looked down. A thought popped into his head. Maybe he should just end it here. Yeah, that would be good. Maybe I can meet the third Hokage, the hero who died protecting the village from the nine-tailed fox. Turning off the flames on his back, Naruto jumped down the Hokage monument. He felt the cold air hit his face. It felt so good, but as he was about to make contact with the ground, the flames on his back lit up again as a huge booming sound went off. Many people gathered around the crater that was formed to see Naruto completely unharmed, just lying there with his eyes wide open. I I didn't turn on the flames. It activated on its own, he thought. The people who gathered around Naruto saw his appearance. Hey, stay away from him. Yeah, he looks like the devil. How the hell did a child survive jumping from such a high height? Man, that boy's a monster. Many rumors like this came around. Naruto's eyes were wide as he heard those comments. But out of the crowd, someone came running towards him. It was a man with red hair and violet eyes. He looked like a male version of Kushina. Naruto felt the man lift his head up and ask him, "Hey, Naruto, are you all right?" The man asked. The man asked. It was with the man asked with general concern in his voice. Naruto looked at the man. "Why are you here? Aren't you scared?" Naruto asked, as the man punched Naruto slightly on his head. Not that Naruto even felt it, that is. "You fool, why would it be scared of a child?" Naruto looked at the man. "Who are you anyways? You look familiar," Naruto said as the man chuckled. "Of course, I look familiar. I'm your mother's elders. I'm your mother's elder brother. Not that you have ever met me since, well, I have been out of the village for a long time. The man looked at Naruto's eyes. He saw pain, suffering. What had this boy gone through at such a young age? He smiled. Would you mind telling me this your story? He said as Naruto looked at the man. Why bother? It's not like it will benefit you in any way. Naruto said as the man was looked surprised. No, no. I'm not doing this out of my benefit or anything. I just want to hear my nephew's life. Till now, that's all. Naruto looked at the man for a few minutes, but eventually agreed. They walked around the village together. Naruto saw many people of the village, giving this man, who was supposedly his uncle, smiles and greetings. He must be someone important to receive so much respect, the boy thought. But he also heard some other rumors. The boy looks. That boy. Look at him. He looks like an animal. Yeah, I mean, he was Winx. So disgusting. I see why the Hokage and his family neglect him. I mean, I would too. The red-haired man looked at Naruto after hearing those rumors that he was hearing, but it was obvious that it was getting to Naruto, and the man grabbed Naruto's shoulder and vanished. Naruto and the man appeared in a location that Naruto never saw. The location was filled with flowers, and he saw a waterfall. This made his mood calm. By the way, my name's Sandro Uzumaki. I'm also known throughout the elemental nations as the Moon Eye. Sandro said as his eyes changed from violet color to sky blue color eyes. Naruto looked at Sandro. Where are we? And how did we get here? Naruto asked. The man who just smirked in reply, we warped there. And as for where we are at a place where only people with these eyes can come, or someone who has these eyes decides whether people can come with him or not can enter. The man said. Naruto looked and nodded at him. And what are those eyes, if I may ask? Sandra looked at Naruto. You don't even know, even though you're an Uzumaki? Naruto shook his head. The man remembered that one of the villagers said that Naruto was neglected by his family. His blood started to boil. Kushina, how could you? Even though it's our clan code to never abandon our family. Family before everything. Disregarding those thoughts, the man looked at Naruto with a smile. These are also known as the Six Eyes. It's a legendary dojutsu of our clan, but I also inherited another ability also known as the Limitless. I will explain it to you of how it works later, the man said as Naruto nodded, then looked at the ground. Would you really hear my story, even though I'm a stranger? Sandru nodded as Naruto began to speak. My life was normal until last year. Mom and dad loved me and spent time with me, even took me out to places with Menman Mito. I was happy till suddenly they started training Menman Mito. But when I asked to be trained, they said that I'll receive my training in the academy. I didn't want to be left behind my siblings, so I started to read books and mastered everything before those two. But when I told dad and mom about it, they became furious. Mom even slapped me and saying that I am not the child of prophecy and someone like me shouldn't become stronger than my siblings. From that day on, a distance between me and my family grew to the extent where it only feels like I'm a stranger living at their house, rent-free. The boy said with a dead look in his eyes. As the boys continued, but I didn't give up. I continued to train, secretly in hopes that someday they will recognize me as a part of the family. But again, this mess had to happen. And there's no way now that's gonna happen. Senzuru kneeled down beside Naruto. Naruto, Will you come and live with me? Even though I'm out of the village, I'll allow you to work. I will take you with me, and you will return when it's time for you to begin your academy. Naruto looked at the man with shock. Really? Naruto asked. The man nodded. Yeah, it wouldn't be good for you to live in this village right now, especially after the stunt you tried to pull off, he said as Naruto looked at him and nodded. He didn't know what to say. Why was this man so kind to him? And Naruto, there is a code among us Uzumaki. This is my first lesson to you, so listen carefully, okay? The man said gently as his eyes returned back to the original violet color eyes, as his eyes became soft. Finally, family above all. Always remember that as long as you consider yourself Uzumaki. Naruto's eyes widened as a small smile appeared on his face. Yes, family above all. Hokage's office. Senzuru appeared in the Hokage's office and saw Minato and Jiraiya in the office as well. Minato looked up and smiled. Ah, Senzuru, it's been a long time. It's good to see you. But Senzuru didn't respond to the fourth. He looked at Minato and then at Jiraiya. We need to talk, he said as a serious look was on his face. Jiraiya and Minato looked at Senzuru. The guy was always goofy and smiling. But at this moment, he looked pissed. And that was something that was very rare. Both Minato and Jiraiya sat down as Jiraiya started to speak. Hey, Senzuru, what's with the look? Did we do something? Jiraiya, Senzuru spoke. Do you remember the Uzumaki code? Senzuru said, raising his head and looking at Jiraiya. Jiraiya nodded. Yeah, I already have heard it about 1,000 times now, he said. Senzuru looked at him. Yeah, and I hope you know that I abide by that rule, and I will destroy the entire world if it means protecting my family and the people who share the same blood as I do, Senzuru said as the tension in the room was increasing. Minato narrowed his eyes at the red hair. Is this about that boy? He asked. Senzuru glared at Minato with the six eyes activated. He has a name, Blondie. If I were you, I would choose my words carefully. Or did you forget what happened those years ago? If not for my sister, you would be dead right now, Senzuru said. Minato narrowed his eyes at Senzuru. I am the Hokage, Senzuru. Threatening me is not a wise choice. Senzuru deactivated his eyes as he spoke. I will take Naruto with me for 3 years, and after he returns, he'll be staying in my mansion. I refuse to let you bastards treat him the way you do. Sandra spoke it in a way in which there was no room left for argument. Minato sighed. Yeah, I was planning on getting out of the village anyways. For a few years, that is. After the Hyuga incident, that would be a good decision, Minato said. Sendru looked at the man. Hyuga incident. Jiraiya nodded as he started to explain. Sendru clenched his fist after the explanation was done. Maybe I should just go and kill that fool right now. I alone am enough to deal with Kumo. Minato stood up and placed his hand on the red-hair's shoulder. There's no need to spill unnecessary blood, Sensuru. Calm down. I will handle it. Just keep Naruto hidden for these 3 years, and we will be fine. Sensuru looked at Minato and nodded as he stood up. The red-hair then looked at Minato as he was exiting the Hokage's office. Minato, you're a good man, but don't listen to that old fool of a sensei of yours, who is assuming that Menma and Mito are the child of prophecy, because when reality hits, it will only hurt you. As the man said that, he vanished. Namikaze household. Sendru appeared in front of the Namikaze household as he knocked on the door. His sister on the door. As soon as Kushina saw Senzuru, a huge smile appeared on her face as she jumped on Senzuru. Bro, you're back, she said as she was hugging him. Sandra sighed. She always gets too excited for her own good. After some time, Kusina finally let go of him as she smiled at him. You know, I've told the kids a lot about you, she said as Sandru narrowed his eyes at her. Is that so? Sandru replied. Kushina nodded as she pulled Sandru by his arms and took him inside the house. Menma, Mito, come down right now. I have someone special that I want you to meet. As soon as Kushina said that, two people running down the stairs could be heard. And Sandru saw both of them, and they both were exactly opposite of Naruto. They were lively, had a bright look in their eyes, and first of all, they were smiling. Menma and Mito looked at their mother. Mom, who is he? Menma asked, pointing his finger at Sandru. Kushina smirked. Remember the only man that I said is stronger than your father? I told you about that, right? She said as both of them nodded. Well, that's him. He is your uncle, Sandru. As he said that, both Menma and Mito looked at Sandru, and they both got stars in their eyes. You are super cool uncle that everyone talks about? Mito asked. Sandru smiled and nodded. They both jumped at him, but before they could touch him, they stopped. Huh? Both Menma and Mito thought. As Kushina looked at Sandru and simply shook her head. He wanted to show off. Hey, why can't I touch you? Menma said as he tried to jump on Sandru again, but he couldn't touch Sandru at all. Because you're touching the infinity that exists between you and me. Sandru said as he deactivated his technique, and then he ruffled Menma's hair. See? He said. As soon as he did ruffle Menma's hair, both of the kids came crashing down on him. After some time, both of the kids were now sleeping after playing with Sandru so long that they both were tired as hell. And well, Sandru, well, he didn't even break a sweat. Kushina was now looking at her sleeping kids with a smile on her face. They both looked so peaceful. She hoped times like this could continue on forever. Then Kushina heard Sandru's voice from downstairs. As when she came downstairs, he was looking at her, and she saw the look in his eyes. He was mad at her. Did she do something? Sandra looked at her. Kushina, do you remember I am the head of the Uzumaki clan? As Sandra said that, Kushina nodded. Sandra started to walk towards Kushina. This is for forgetting our clan oath. Slap. A loud sound of a slap echoed, but luckily, Sandru had put up a barrier around them so the kids wouldn't wake up. Kushina looked up at Sandru as he saw the look that he was giving her. It was full of disappointment. Big brother, why? She asked. Naruto was all Sandru said, and all that Kushina needed to hear in order to understand why he was so pissed. Big bro, I can explain myself. Jiraiya senses that old food prophecy is more important to you than your own son. Get a grip, Kushina. It's our clan oath, for God's sake. Sandru shouted at her. Kushina backed away a little as he sensed his presence growing. A man grows as he suffers and loses things precious to him. But do you know what destroys a man the most, Kushina? He asked, as Kushina didn't have the answer to that question. Solitude is the worst thing that anyone can go through, and you let your own son go through that, Kushina. I'll tell you something interesting that happened today. The same boy that you've neglected and let him go through solitude tried to kill himself today. Kushina's eyes widened. Hearing that, what? She said. Sandra looked at her. I don't remember raising you like this, Kushina. He said as his tone was full of disappointment. Kushina's eyes were now on the verge of tears. He got his first kill today, and no one was there for him. Remember when you got your first kill, and you came to me crying like a little child? He said in a bitter tone. Kushina rushed towards Sandru. Please take me to him. I will. No. Kushina's eyes widened as she heard his reply. He will not be living here anymore. He'll be living in the Uzumaki compound. And not only that, he'll become the heir to the Uzumaki clan. Kushina's eyes widened. No, no, I promise, Mito, she said, but she was cut off by the sight of the six eyes looking at her. I'm the head of the Uzumaki clan, and if you want to make her the heir to the Uzumaki clan, then you'll have to challenge me to a duel. He said, as Kushina knew what he meant by that. She couldn't even land a single blow on him, let alone defeat him. His decision was final, and she would not be changing it. I will be taking Naruto with me for 3 years, and after he returns, and if he decides to forgive you, then good for you. Senju said, and he started to walk away, leaving Kushina in the house all alone. Before Senju opened the door to leave, he looked back at Kushina and tell that old fool Jiraiya that I am on Naruto's side through and through. Tch, Sensei would be so disappointed in that old fool. One day later, Senzuru was walking with Naruto, and Naruto's wings and the flame on his back were gone. Naruto looked at the bracelet that was placed in his wrist. So, this will suppress my powers? Naruto said, pointing at the bracelet. Senzuru smirked. Not fully suppressed, just suppressed around 60% of it, and that's enough so that your wings and fire don't come out. In simple languages, you are exactly how you used to be before you awakened your powers. Sensor said, I may not look like it, but I am the best at seals in the world right now. It's an art that every Uzumaki is forced to learn, Sensor said with a grin. As they were going around the village, Naruto heard people talking about them again. Did Sensei really take him in? Poor man. Just because of his own family doesn't want him. Yeah, I mean, who would want to raise something like that? He heard all kind of rumors. Naruto stopped in his tracks as his eyes became darker, slowly starting to lose their light in them. But Naruto's eyes regained light as he was lifted up in the air by Sensuru. Naruto's widened eyes looked at Sensuru, who was smiling at him as the red hair spoke. From now on, you have to breathe the air of the higher places. Don't you think so too? Sensuru said, as Naruto was too shocked to say anything. He just stayed there as Sensuru put Naruto on his shoulder. You better get ready, because I'm not gonna go easy on ya. And that was the day when I, Naruto Uzumaki, left the village. That was the day when my story began. The story of a man who became a god.